So anything and everything could be labeled hysteria. And you know what the cure for hysteria was?
What? Masturbation.
19% of the funding that erectile dysfunction gets, 19% of that endometriosis research gets.
I feel like this can be a lonely journey, right? That's why you have to look for other angry women.
Yeah.
Angry women must find other angry women. It's therapeutic. Hello breasties. लड़कियाँ menstruation suffer करती है कभी कभी, experience करती है for the most part. बच्चे कर सकती है अगर वो चाहे. So अगर the Darwinian point of life is reproduction, then जिंदगी का circadian rhythm तो योनि से होना चाहिए ना. But है नहीं, because there's a lot of misogyny in medicine. So today we're going to chat with Taneya, aka Dr. Cutress. I'm Shaivya, the co-founder of Tailed, and we're going to get your expert opinion on all things vagina, woman, and misogyny in medicine.
Prepare yourself for the longest rant you will hear in the history of mankind. Or womankind. Oh, whoa. Like WOE mankind. Whoa, man. I'm on fire today. I've had too much coffee.
Yeah, we could just do this episode as one long rant, I feel like.
I think this is what it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let me just start you off. Truly, because when I started to do research, what I knew was frustrating me even more, right? Because the proof is in your face then. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And obviously, even now, there's a lot of misogyny in medicine. But then there is the question of how decades and centuries of misogyny entrenched in medicine has informed all the options available to us today. So, where do you think we can start changing things? How do you think we got here? Tell us about your opinion on the general misogyny that still permeates medicine.
I'm going to give an anecdote about a doctor whose name, tragically, I have forgotten. I think his name is Sam Edelweiss. No, Sam something. And it's a shame that I've forgotten this name because he is such an important doctor for just the history of medicine. For something so simple that it will blow your mind when you hear it. He was a proponent of washing your hands.
Right.
Because he saw that when babies were delivered by midwives, women had less sepsis, women had less infections. When babies were delivered by doctors, male, obviously male only, male doctors, they had more infections because the concept of hand washing was not common. The ingrained natural wisdom of women, because they give birth and they know how to do it, informed them of a very simple thing: wash your damn hands. So when COVID happened, I learned about this because the whole hand washing situation was happening, and I heard a podcast and I was like, wow, we've been quite stupid for a lot of time. But and I think it's just like this whole thing is testament to the fact that we ignore women's wisdom.
Yeah.
And we pedestalize, so much of men.
Yeah, 100%. And I remember reading something about how witches were the first doctors and then they were erased and then women were kept out of medicine. which is so fucking problematic, right?
So
because
problematic.
it's you engineer something, you create something and it's taken from you and then you're kept out of it, and that's the history of women in so many different areas. So now that you're practicing and you're an established name in the space, people are turning to you for answers. How do you feel about that? How do you think we've come now to the precipice of real change in medicine?
I think it's shameful that it is now that this is becoming a thing. One of the videos that I did on misogyny in medicine, I found that when I looked at the insights for it, every time I see somebody share it, it's always a woman. I've never seen a man share. In fact, men were fighting with me in the comments, and I was like, why is this 2025? We've put man on the moon. We put man on the moon before we put adhesive on, before we put wings on pads,
Wow.
Wings on, we had wings in space before there were wings on pads.
Wow.
Like, it is incredible that it took so much bhassad for Apple to put cycle tracking on your phones.
Right.
They had so much health data, they'll give you your VO2 max, but you can't track a damn period. There is. This is the beginning of the rant. I have completely forgotten what your question was because there's
Doesn't
just so
even
much
matter at this point.
coming out.
Yeah.
Endometriosis, debilitating condition, takes on average 7 years to get diagnosed.
Right.
7 years of just non-stop pain. Pain that affects every part of your life. 19% of the research money of erectile dysfunction, which is, yes, a horrible condition, seriously afflicts people, makes your sex life very difficult, impacts your confidence, but you're not living in debilitating pain.
Right.
19% of the funding that erectile dysfunction gets, 19% of that endometriosis research gets. It is a shame, it is horrible. One of the books that radicalized me was called Invisible Women, because women are invisible in the medical space. There's so many things I read there that made me excuse me, there's so many things I read there that made me so bothered. Like, for example, what do you think of when somebody's having a heart attack? What are the symptoms you think of?
Your hand is hurting, palpitations, lots of pain shooting up the arm.
Yeah. Chest pain and arm pain and palpitations, all of these are symptoms men experience.
Right.
For a lot of women get misdiagnosed at heart attacks, and after menopause your risk of heart attacks actually goes up because the cardioprotective as in heart protective effects of estrogen go away.
Right.
A lot of women get misdiagnosed because their symptoms are considered atypical. How is half of humanity's symptoms atypical? They actually have things like an impending feeling of doom, like maybe gastritis kind of symptoms, or anxiety. You know, it's not that standard pain, shooting pain up and down your left arm or pain in your jaw, not that.
Right.
Their symptoms are called atypical. It makes me so wildly angry when I think about it. So much of, like, when I was doing my book, so much of the research that I read was just, it was mind-boggling. Like, there's a tribe in PNG that believes that for young men to attain manhood,
Right.
I mean, it's a trigger warning, there's like pedophilia here. For young men to achieve manhood, they have to blow an older dude. One of the the mukhias of the tribe.
Okay.
And then ingest their semen, because semen is magical. And that same discharge, when it comes out of a woman, when it's vaginal discharge, is dirty, or the vagina needs to be detoxed, or the Latin word for this area, we have a nerve called the pudendal nerve. The Latin word pudenda means shame.
Okay.
The word vagina means a sheath. Like, the penis is some kind of a mighty sword that the vagina will sit in.
What?
Yeah. Oh God, I've forgotten to say. Same old dude that I was talking about in the periods episode. Same old Roman dude. Pliny the Elder. That's him. Pliny the Elder thought that the vagina was an inside-out penis. Leaving the genetics aside, कि अगर XY chromosome है तो it'll, quite likely to grow up as a boy. If you don't give it that requisite testosterone, the fetus is female essentially.
Right.
Why do men have nipples? Men don't need nipples.
Right.
Men have nipples because women have nipples, and nipples develop well before your body starts producing testosterone as a fetus. So before that testosterone can kick in, it's all like the penis is actually a clit. Right. If you give the clitoris enough testosterone, it becomes a penis. So it's so mind-boggling that somehow this is the weaker sex when this is all of us.
Right.
In fact, it's the sperm that decides the sex of the baby, not the egg.
Right.
All eggs by default are women. I mean, XX. So it's a little infuriating, and I feel like women have been hoodwinked for all of history. And it's only now that we're waking up.
Yeah.
And when you're used to, there's a beautiful quote, when you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression.
Right.
And I feel like that's what's happening with men right now. They're
Yeah.
used to having the upper hand, and right now it just suddenly feels like oppression in some way.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, men don't get harmed. They
Sure.
get harmed. The patriarchy harms everybody. And not just the patriarchy, पितृसत्ता के आगे भी चीजें हैं. Everybody gets harmed in every way, and men's harms are true and real. But why are those harms only brought up in response to when women are talking about their problems? This
Right.
is what I see most often in my comments when I talk about medical misogyny, and I'm sure we're going to get a lot of that in this comment section also.
Right.
But it is a little bit mind-boggling when you realize that a lot of women die in car crashes because the seat belts are designed for that of a average height 70 kilo man.
Right.
When you wear a seatbelt, do not wear it here.
Yeah.
Anybody with big boobs wears a seatbelt here. So you're likely to get choked.
Yeah.
Because they're not designed for our bodies.
Right.
That's why so many women don't wear seatbelts at all. And it's mind-boggling when you see how the world is geared towards, especially in medicine, it's just built for and around men.
Right.
For any, if somebody had a medical procedure where they had a camera inside their penis, they would get full anesthesia for it. In a lot of the world, when you get a hysteroscopy, which is a procedure where they put a camera inside your uterus, it doesn't happen in India, but in a lot of the world, when you get a hysteroscopy, they don't even give you anesthesia for it. They do it as an office procedure. There's a camera inside your uterus. Your vagina is inflated with water. That's how they go into you. And it's considered an office procedure to save costs.
What?
Yeah, it's so infuriating.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I can never, content creation is much easier than doing my real job, and it's a lot more chill also. But I feel like this is why I can never give up medicine.
Right.
As comfortable as content creation is and as fun as it may be, is because I just have so much anger and I really want to change the system so much, which I can't because I'm one person. And, this is just, yeah.
Yeah, but information like this binds us all in this one particular truth, which is that we've been ignored for so long. And because it's not just medicine, it's literally every field, everywhere, everything, ever. And I think the more we talk about this, the more, at least wherever in the spaces we exist in, we can be problem children for the right reasons.
Angry women will change the world.
Angry women, it's the era of the angry woman, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need to chill a little bit also. I feel like हमने पूरा जिम्मा अपने साथ ले लिया है.
Of course, तो back ही हो रहा है इसी वजह से. 100%. And that balance is so hard to achieve because I feel like this can be a lonely journey, right? That's why you have to look for other angry women.
Yeah.
Angry women must find other angry women. It's therapeutic. It's therapeutic to have this conversation right now because it is like frustrating to know that all of this is true, but at least we can lament about it together. But yeah, if you are isolated and you're angry, that turns into such grief. And that grief stays with you. That grief causes like medical trauma.
Yes.
Can you speak to us a bit about like medical trauma caused by suppressed rage that women inevitably feel because of the system we live in?
I'm a very evidence-based person and I cannot say that I can't verify the veracity of that statement because I don't know if the evidence for that exists. With that said, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So
more in
tricky.
season 2.
Just tricky, just very, very tricky. But yes, the more unhappy you are, we have evidence for this, the more unhappy you are, the more you are likely to suffer from medical ailments because the psychosomatic illnesses develop like that a lot of times. So I mean, be angry but also be happy.
100%. And healthy expression of each is super important.
And use your anger to change things instead of just being angry. I think that's where a lot of like our generation and the generations after us are getting misguided because we are served so much rage bait all the time that we're always angry and anxious and depressed, but we're not doing anything about it except for going whoop, next reel, whoop, next reel. I saw somebody's story the other day where it said, right now what our brain is bombarded with on an everyday basis is so bizarre because you could see somebody's story about how they purchased a 2 lakh rupees ka bag, and the next story you'll see is of a starving child, and the next story you'll see is of a puppy, and the next story you'll see is of how to make high protein paneer, and the next story you'll see is somebody getting bombed.
Yeah.
And that is leading to so much anger that I feel like that may show up as, I've gone on a tangent, I will shut up now.
No, but that's a very real thing, because yes, that's not what this episode is necessarily about, but 100% affects how we're going through life now, which is in this kind of disoriented way, which women have been for a very long time anyway.
And you will feel a lot of rage and anger as a woman when you step out into the world and you see that, oh God, this is not correct and this is not fair.
Yeah.
So, that is compounded by that pre-existing angst we have as like this generation anyway. So, yeah.
A small example of this is when I was very young, I remember I would navigate the roads in a very happy way. I'm a very happy person. I like being happy, right? And I would just smile at everyone all the time. I loved it. And I realized that at a certain age, I became a really angry person on the street. Because everyone, like most men I encountered, especially as my breasts increased, will always look at your tits. It's a non-stop thing. You can't smile at people who are looking at your tits. You're so angry. And at some age, I randomly realized, I was like, shit, now I'm always scowling at people. I'm always so knowing people. Like, जब COVID आया था, and if someone is whistling at me or singing at me, I'd start coughing at them. And they would run for their life.
Oh God.
And I started to scowl at especially men so much. Like, if they'd stare at my tits, I'd like be even worse. And I was like, I don't want to do this journey either.
Yeah.
This is not for me either.
Yeah.
But then why can't I just be a happy person on the street, right? This is a whole thing that's been taken from me and now I have to navigate it. And there's 3 million micro-aggressive acts like this that we just adapt to, find new ways around, but don't have time to stop and think about because we have to live this insane life and be perfect and do everything right. So in all of that, angry women must find other angry women.
100%. And then learn to be happy. I think it's important to learn to have that happiness because like you said, we don't have evidence for it right now, but like you said, there may be some huge role that anger and repressed emotions may play into it. What we do know is that we inherit trauma for sure.
Right.
So there is, how in India there's a very high likelihood, in the Indian subcontinent we have a higher propensity for getting issues like diabetes because we've seen so many sustained famines during the colonization period that it's changed the way our DNA behaves. We evolved in real time, and now our body holds on to, also doesn't help that we have a very carb heavy diet, but we hold on to fats and carbohydrates in a different way, and I think that may also explain some of the PCOS things we see.
Cool. I have an activity for you. So this is a quick round of truth and false.
Okay.
One of these you've already mentioned, so you know what it is, so I'm not going to ask it.
Please ask no.
For years, women were excluded from crash test dummies. So truth or false? Okay, so the first one is, most clinical drug trials excluded women until the 1990s.
That's true. But this was in America. There was no law that you have to include women.
Oh.
So
convenient.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, cycles will change all the results. So they just
as
didn't
if that's
include
not
women.
Important.
Yeah, and then we have things like women's heart attack symptoms are considered atypical because they don't know what our symptoms are like.
Yeah. Gotta take my sense of doom seriously when it does happen. I don't kid around with it. Okay, in the 1920s, women were told to sleep upright during their periods to prevent blood from reaching the brain.
Women were told not to. People were afraid of women riding trains and cars because it was thought that the uterus will fly out when these vehicles go at such high speed.
For real?
No, I mean it doesn't fly out. The uterus is not.
My uterus is intact. Thank you very much.
The uterus is the OG wanderlust organ according to people of the olden days. Because hysteria, the term hysteria, hyster means uterus. A hysteroscopy is a procedure where you look inside the uterus. A hysterectomy is a surgery of removing the uterus.
Right.
So anything womanly is labeled hysteria. It's a very problematic term.
That's where hysterical comes from?
That's where hysterical comes from. So before we had any research on why women have any women's health issues, everything was labeled hysteria. The list of hysteria could be as long as could start from something as innocuous as a headache to weird behavior to pain in the feet after working, all day long everywhere. So anything and everything could be labeled hysteria. And you know what the cure for hysteria was?
What? Masturbation. I
By
read this
somebody
one.
else. Yeah, a doctor would.
I thought it was like empowering to just masturbate, but what the
No.
fuck?
A doctor would come and do it for you with a vibrator. And no, here's the best part. They could not look at women's genitals, right?
Right.
So the genitalia would be covered with like this londa sa kapda itna bada sa. This
Right.
is also how deliveries happened. They were allowed to do a manual examination, but they couldn't look. Yeah, it's beautiful. The one of the things I haven't actually checked the veracity of this claim, but one of the reasons why I have read in several places, I need to go back and read the primary literature. Why women give birth on their backs, lying down. That position is called lithotomy, and it is, some sources say that it is because there was a French king, I think it was Louis XVI, who had a fetish for watching women in that position and have things coming out of their body. And that particular position, lithotomy, the standard position that you see women giving birth, no, legs up in stirrups.
Right.
It causes more perineal tears, it causes more injury. Actually, one of the best positions for giving birth is actually squatting.
Right.
And that's how traditionally it is done.
So you tell me women give birth lying down because some dude in France had a thing for it?
Yeah. Medical misogyny.
Oh my god! Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, this was rapid fire.
This was false though. This was one I made up, but it sounds like
I've never heard this. But I don't. There's so many things you hear every day.
Okay. The first birth control trials were run on Puerto Rican women without consent.
That's true.
Yeah, read a bit about it. It was very
That's
upsetting.
the horrible shit.
Okay, final one. Endometriosis was long dismissed as a career woman's disease caused by not having babies.
There was a paper that came out recently that was it was attractiveness of women with endometriosis, and they were trying to gauge if women with endometriosis were less attractive, even though the men would never know that they have endometriosis, but they were ranking whether or not women with endometriosis are less attractive because they're reproductively challenged. Because so does evolutionary biology give the men signs that they have endo, so you stay away from these
वो
women?
ये कर रहे हैं research funding के साथ.
Yeah. They have money for this shit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, I do not even know how to end this episode because this episode has ended me. So that's it.
I feel like halfway through this episode I got really depressed, and I feel like there were so many things I wanted to say, and I was just like, what is the point anymore? Like, why are we doing this? Like,
Yeah, we have to do part 15 of this.
yeah, but honestly, talking about it also is so. I really lost all motivation to speak in the middle because I was just like, point क्या है लाइफ में कुछ भी करने का यार, मतलब इतने साल से हमें हुडविंक किया जा रहा है. It's really sad.
अब चीजें बदल रही हैं. करेंगे एंग्री वुमेन दुनिया चेंज फुर्सत से.
So guys, this is us in Fursat, and you should Fursat se listen to this episode while also wearing your Fursat. And thank you for listening to us, and please be angry with us. Bye.